Hello there and welcome. In this video I got you 10 different tips and tricks about base designs, base layouts and things that will help you to build your bases more effectively, more efficiently, and I hope that there will be something in here that'll help you out in designing your next base in the way that you like it more. Now let's talk about number 1. When you look for spaces where you want to build your buildings at, toggle on the fertility overlay and look for the least fertile areas for your largest buildings. Obviously, this isn't as important for all biomes the same. The temperate forest, for example, is so full of fertile soil that you might want to look for the extra fertiles and don't build over these. But the worse the biome gets, the more you can gain advantage out of that by not wasting your precious farming area. This is always a nice thing for me if I'm asking myself where the heck should I build. Moving on to number 2. You can't have too many specialized stockpiles in my humble opinion. Since in Rimworld your colonists will spend an awful amount of time by carrying things from one spot to another, things like here, storing your textiles right next to your electric tailor bench, storing your chem fuel right next to the refinery, we could be even going as far and storing some timber here, or we could store all our timber here, having the shells right next to the mortars, together with the replacement barrel. The list goes on and on. Basically, your fantasy is your limit here. The trick here is quite simple. You take the zone in question, you set it on a very high priority, and you allow it only to store the items that you want. Done. Can be obviously also done with shelves. Several shelves can be linked together to have the same settings like these, and it's just the same. All in all, can fully recommend to specialize your stockpiles because that reduces the amount of wasted time in your colonies tremendously. Number 3. Spread out your power production. It is really dangerous to have all your power production focused only on one building. All it takes is one bad storyteller event and you have a total blackout. You can here go for double production areas like I do here. You can go for a sophisticated network with power switches. I'm personally more of an overkill style player because I like to make things easy. Depending on your own preferences, the only thing that I can't stress out enough is you will need a fallback plan because eventually disaster will strike your power sources, and that is sometimes more nasty than at other times, but it's always a quite heavy investment of steel and components to restore it in the very least case. But in all honesty, my point here is mostly that if you lose energy, you lose air conditioning, you lose lighting, and these two things can make the aftermath of a battle very, very dangerous. Keep in mind, medical supplies and medical treatment is relying heavily on light for one thing. Dark rooms and medical treatments go really bad together. All right. Number 4, a couple of things for pens. So I laid out a couple of pen designs here in this video to showcase how you can treat your animals well. For one, a very easy way is to flat out spread a huge dandelion zone over there. As you can see at these spatches here, our little boomalope is eating dandelions. That's why it's so nice yellow. The only thing that bothers me a little bit is that you don't get a proper nutrition growth oversight here. You have to do it on your own gut feeling. The other variant that I like to do a lot is a more controlled growing zone with hay grass inside or outside the pen to your own liking. And then you can store either on a wooden shelf outside something, which has the advantage that it doesn't deteriorate from being outside anymore, the shelf protects, but it will still go bad over time. The other variant here would be a pen for the animals, a proper barn, where you can lay out a hay flooring, and air conditioning with a stockpile zone of food goes really, really well. Either way, the pen designators with the nutrition growth inside and such, I mostly forget about these. I try to either feed my pen animals inside the pen or outsource that whole thing. I find these two solutions to be the most effective ones that I found so far. Let me know what you think. Number 5. Efficiency in your lab and your workshops by clumping everything together and making sure that the tool cabinets are linked to all the things here in question. Tool cabinets can only be linked to items per workstation, but there is no limit how many workstations they can influence. Since a single tool cabinet costs you 200 steel, I find it very, very worthwhile to get the most out of your steel cabinets. I mean, maybe you have more steel than you can invest somewhere, but I have been rarely in that luxurious position. Now, the same thing goes here for the research benches. You can put the multi-analyzer together for several things, and the bookcases all the same. Focusing together these things like these saves you resources while maintaining the efficiency, which is very, very desirable in my opinion. Number 6, spare dining areas. While I do like to have a central dining area or two, I have found that quite often if this area is too far away from the area where people work at, they will quite often just grab their lunch and eat it while they stand somewhere, and then they're unhappy because there was no table. This can be easily mitigated by having little extra modules in the areas where your people will work a lot and stand a lot around, namely labs, workshops, but also something I recently learned, kudos to the comment section, your defense areas also are very gracious receivers for little dining halls like one back here. Just a little sketch to give you the idea, because fighting can be a very, very long and strenuous task. Having a place to sit down and eat at is good for the morale. And, you know, the morale on your people, the mood is so important to keep it up. Anyways, let's move on over to number 7. Only build and hoard what you need, especially the later the game goes down and especially the higher the difficulty. If this gameplay mechanic bothers you, you should lower the difficulty to mitigate that, but in general, Rimworld makes the game harder the wealthier you are. The more stuff you got, the more problematic it will be to maintain safety for your colony. Therefore, everything you don't need should be put away. Everything you don't require should be transformed or traded into something else you need. This helps you out a lot. Also worth mentioning, every structure you own is also adding wealth into your possession. Therefore, resources that lie around, like here the ship chunks, it is often paying off to just let them lie around until you need them, because at the end of the day, you will not have the wealth in your colony if this isn't dismantled and in your stockpile. Structures you build only have their value counted in as 50% of all, but this also impacts ruins that stand around there that can be claimed. My map sadly doesn't feature any anymore, but the ruins, the walls that stand around on many maps, if you claim them, they get added into your colony's wealth. Like I said, this can be foregone by modifying the storyteller settings to go into a lower threat level. So if you are more of a builder and hoarder player, this will help you out in making the combat less annoying for you. I hope this helps you out. Number 8, defenses go everywhere. It is not sufficient to just have a elaborate kill box. Over the course of the game, you will get attacked from all various different angles, and having a double layered wall with hunt traps, for example, is good against bridge raiders. That's a really nice one that I like to do. Or you can just spread out little gun turrets with barricades around them in your base. This will attract the enemy's attention, so your people can gun down people that like to drop pod into your base. Or my classic here, spike traps all over the base, at corners. Enemies love to run over these. They basically don't hurt your people at all. In all honesty, I haven't... there is maybe every 200 days, one person springs one of these traps in your base, but that's it basically. They help you out in dividing and conquering the enemy even more, and as you see here, you can go with the turrets also quite big time in securing strategical entries. Here, if the kill box gets ever breached, the enemy can say hi to 2 autocannon turrets. We could even set up another defensive perimeter here. What I want to stress out with that, Don't think that you are done with the defensive topic only because you got a fancy kill box. The storyteller will find new ways to hurt you. Which brings me directly to number 9. I want to spend a few words about infestations. Infestations won't happen if you have no structures under a roof, under a mountain tile. So goes like this. If we now build a single item here at the end of this, if there is a colony-owned structure within 30 tiles of that, now we have a chance of spawning an infestation. As long as I don't build anything in this area, no infestations will happen. Infestations get triggered by the proximity to mountain areas. It has to have this mountain ceiling thing going on, and then it is eligible to spawn infestations. As long as you avoid these, you don't need to worry too much about any infestation in your colony happening ever. If you have to work with these, the best and most effective way of dealing with insectoids that I have found so far is the classic melee choke point, where you set up 3 people standing in front of this area like this. Come on, guys. I undrafted them accidentally. You put them up like this, well equipped, then the enemy can only enter one enemy at a time. Most of the insectoids are melees, and they can be easily killed like that. Archers and shooters can go here, and you have that thing mostly under control. So that's that. And the last thing, number 10, that I want to talk about. Always, when you build your base and build it up and plan it further, plan in affordable steps. If you want to build a new workshop, consider how much material you got available and how far you can take it. It is completely okay to have just the outlines built up and focus yourself on the things you can afford. I have had once tried to build a outlined box like this, only with one colonist in a naked brutality run when I was very, very green with Rimworld. Needless to say, that project was really going terrible because I didn't plan my workforce, because that's one thing that you really need to take into account as well. Not only the material, but also the available workforce. And obviously, that one guy having to cut the stones alone and lobbing them over to the construction site and constructing it all, it was nonsense. But it was a good experience and lesson for me to always consider, can I really build this in one go, or do I not have the cloth for that super fancy floor? Can I really build this flooring, or do I not have the stone blocks available for this? And the list goes on and on like that. Because it is easy in Rimworld to be overambitious, and half-finished projects are, for one, holding you back in terms of workforce, and the other thing is, rather plan a little bit smaller at the beginning and expand it from there on. Like, a good example is this workshop hall here. You can build a large hall and fill it bit by bit with things. It doesn't matter if the hall is too large at the beginning. Well, at least not much. Air conditioning is a little bit more costly, and people want a little bit more overall impressiveness to love the room, but that's it. So start with the things that you can afford, and then expand them from there on out. This helps a lot in avoiding being spread thin over 1,000 things in the game. So I hope that this little list helps you out with building your bases. It's, as usual, way more to say about that topic than this, so chime in into the comment section if you have anything on your mind which you feel like would be a good addition to this video. I always love when the comment section is full of nice things that expand on the topic. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, consider donating to my channel via Ko-fi or any other given means in the description box below, and as per usual, I want to say a big thanks to all the supporters of Icon Gaming. Deeply appreciate you guys. Couldn't do this without you. And of course, a big thanks to you for watching this video up until the very end. I couldn't do anything without people watching my videos either. So thanks for your time and attention. Deeply appreciate that, and see you on the next one.